Before we get started, make sure to turn on post notification and subscribe to the channel. 10 rumored Raw storylines to expect prior to WrestleMania 34. Number 10. Dean Ambrose Mania. When Dean Ambrose returned to the company following his triceps injury, the WWE Universe waited patiently for him to turn heel, and eventually that moment came in what was an incredible emotional night of Monday Night Raw. With Roman Reigns sadly out of action for the foreseeable future, it's time for WWE to not focus on other talents to create more megastars, and it would be wise for one of those to be Dean Ambrose, using his recent heel turn to catapult him to the very top. With WrestleMania season now around the corner, having a fully turned Ambrose going crazy and becoming more dominant wouldn't be a bad thing, pushing him as one of WWE's top acts heading into the biggest show of the year. Number 9. Drew McIntyre vs Dolph Ziggler. It might seem like an obvious decision to put Drew McIntyre in a feud with Dolph Ziggler, but sometimes choosing to make the obvious decisions isn't a bad thing because they fit the storylines better, and this is one of those times. Drew McIntyre is destined for huge things in WWE and will likely be the Universal Champion at some stage in 2019, but first, he needs to break free from his tag team partner and go off on his own as a single star. The way to do that is by having them go against each other in what could be a very entertaining feud if it is done right. While WWE doesn't need to rush into this one, having McIntyre destroy Ziggler and prove he's the better of the two will only help establish him and get rid of any baggage before his run. Number 8. Braun Strowman vs Bobby Lashley. A classic feud of two big men smashing each other to pieces is something that WWE built itself on and has the chance to continue with the possible feud between Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley in the near future. Both men are currently enjoying a push, and putting them against each other might not be a bad idea, especially with Brock Lesnar as champion, as he isn't likely to be appearing all that often to defend the title again. Strowman built his name by having huge matches against Roman Reigns that weren't pretty from a technical standpoint, but did entertaining with the hard-hitting moves, and that is exactly what the feud would be. Number 7. The Ronda Rousey-Shayna Baszler saga. WWE currently boasts two of the most dominant female athletes in history in the forms of Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, with one dominating the main roster while the other is in control of NXT. However, there's going to come a time when the Queen of Spades makes the move to the main roster, and WWE will be forced to make an important decision. Will they partner them together or have them feud? While the idea of putting the MMA 4 Horsewomen together as a group is certainly an interesting one, Baszler is one of the only WWE superstars that has the credentials to be a threat to Ronda's dominance, and that may be even more of an exciting prospect. Number 6. Sami Zayn returns. Sami Zayn has been off TV for several months now due to injury, but when he returns, WWE has a big choice to make as to whether or not he returns to the lovable babyface or continues his most recent heel turn. With Kevin Owens out injured as well, WWE can't team them up again because when Zayn does come back, his former partner will certainly be injured. This will lead many to believe he will be back as a face, and that might be the best decision. While Zayn was fun as a heel, he was a bigger star as a babyface, and having him return as a top mid-card talent challenging for the Intercontinental Championship would be an amazing return storyline for him. Number 5. Kurt Angle vs Baron Corbin. At first, it seemed like this feud was building all the way to a traditional Survivor Series match, but given WWE has decided to go for the traditional Raw vs SmackDown approach, it seems that match is being saved for a later date. However, it remains clear that eventually we'll see Kurt Angle go one-on-one with Baron Corbin, as that is the way the storyline has been progressing, and a singles match between them is the right way to solve it. With both men technically the general manager on Monday Night Raw, the simple solution is to build to a match where the winner takes control, and while it might not be the dream angle match everyone wants to see, it will finish the story. Number 4. Chad Gable vs Bobby Roode. Ever since Bobby Roode arrived on the main roster, something has been missing. He hasn't been the same man that he was during his time in NXT, when he was one of the greatest champions in the brand's history. However, since he has been brought to the main roster, WWE has seemingly just focused on the fact Roode has a catchy theme song and turned into a babyface, taking away his biggest strength, but teaming him with Chad Gable seems like the way to change things. It is highly expected that Roode will turn on his partner and start a feud between them, and whether that's meant to push Roode or Gable, switching the former NXT champion to a heel is exactly what is needed. Number 3. The Authors of Pain dominate. It's been a difficult start to live on the main roster for the Authors of Pain, losing their original manager Paul and then being taken off TV altogether for several months before being randomly put together with Drake Maverick. However, it seems like they are finally on the path they should have been from the moment they debuted, and that's one of the pure dominance. The two monsters now have the Raw Tag Team Championships and a solid mouthpiece, and there's no reason they shouldn't hold those titles for a lengthy period of time. Raw's tag team division is incredibly weak right now, and there's no real genuine competition for AOP, so having them destroy everyone in front of them would be the best decision, perhaps until a top NXT team get called up. Number 2, Elias vs Jinder Mahal. WWE has finally pulled the trigger on a babyface turn for Elias lately, and it's an excellent decision, with the guitar-walling superstar easily being one of the most over talents in the entire company. Whenever he appears, the WWE Universe sits up and pays attention, and that is exactly what the company needs right now, a star. As a first feud for him, going up against Jinder Mahal wouldn't be a bad idea for WWE. Mahal is a natural heel who the fans don't like, and will be easy for Elias to play off. Not only will it help Elias turn, but it will also bring Mahal back to the forefront, which is something the company needs to do before he returns to where he was prior to being WWE champion. Number 1, Alexa Bliss vs Riott Squad. This might seem like a random idea, but it's one that could be incredibly interesting when Alexa Bliss is back from her current injury. We have seen Bliss as a heel for the entire time she has been on the main roster, and while it has been incredibly entertaining, now might be a good time for a change. Bliss is likely to be out of the title picture for a while now, with Ronda Rousey set to dominate, probably until at least WrestleMania, so it would be wise if WWE used this time to experiment with other talent in different feuds outside of the Women's Championship. Bliss has teased a face turn before, such as after her Elimination Chamber win, and the fans have responded before she changed, so the WWE Universe would get behind her. Given her fantastic microphone skills, there's no reason this can't work, and going up against 3 top heels in the Riott Squad would be a great way to kick that off.